Entrepreneurship is not new to Birmingham. For years, small businesses have thrived right here in our city. The key is gaining knowledge by using the resources all around. Birmingham is eager to help grow and establish your business. Attending Small Business Week will help you craft your business online, uncover key financial strategies, customer service strategies, and so much more. Birmingham is filled with creative individuals with raw talent. Let's make your vision reality. Small Business Week, Birmingham. Entrepreneurship is not new to Birmingham. For years, small businesses have thrived right here in our city. The key is gaining knowledge by using the resources all around. Birmingham is eager to help grow and establish your business. Attending Small Business Week will help you craft your business online, uncover key financial strategies, customer service strategies, and so much more. Birmingham is filled with creative individuals with raw talent. Let's make your vision reality. Small Business Week, Birmingham. Entrepreneurship is not new to Birmingham. For years, small businesses have thrived right here in our city. The key is gaining knowledge by using the resources all around. Birmingham is eager to help grow and establish your business. Attending Small Business Week will help you craft your business online, uncover key financial strategies, customer service strategies, and so much more. Birmingham is filled with creative individuals with raw talent. Let's make your vision reality. Small Business Week, Birmingham.
Good afternoon, and welcome to day 2 of Birmingham Small Business Week. My name is Alicia Levels Moore, and I'm so excited that you are back with us again for day 2 of National Small Business Week. But this is Birmingham Small Business Week, where we honor, highlight, provide resources, education, and tools to our local Birmingham entrepreneurial ecosystem because we care that much, all right? So today we are going to be talking about all different types of things because the future of business is going in a completely different direction, and we want to make sure that our small businesses are equipped. So listen, Small Business Week 2022, this year our theme is around financial, digital, and customer-centric strategies for growth. Before I go any further, I want to stop and thank our sponsors, SL Creative Firm, Professional Technology and Design Graphics, and Gilberto Herrera for helping us to pull off Small Business Week 2022. So, today we are talking about building sustainable businesses for the future. But we want to kind of take a different spin. We want to talk about how human centered customer service and community building will help us to grow our companies and to help us grow revenue. So, we have some amazing guests, but I want to kind of preface a little bit about what this session is all about. So, did you guys ever think that customer service is not only for our customer, but it's also the culture of the organization that we create? It also is around our brand, our products, and our services. So, we're going to explore a new way of building businesses, and that is human centered, authentic, and culture driven. As you guys know, we are living in a very different time, a very pivotal time, and it's important for us to know exactly how to equip ourselves and our businesses for where the future is going, okay? So we're going to learn about what human-centered customer service is all about, how to build a loyal customer base, how to make sure that we are intrinsically adding community into our businesses, but then also how can we create a culture inside of our organizations, inside of our small businesses, to make sure that we are equipped to not only serve our customers, right, who gets our products and our service, but our customer who are our partners, our employees, and everybody that we bring along with us for this crazy, wild entrepreneurial journey and ride. Okay. So to help me explore these amazing topics, today I have some bomb people here with me. So I have Autumn Sanders, Duquette Johnston, and Teresa Thomas. I'm so excited. This, I don't know about y'all, but in my mind, this is like an Avengers all-star tag team gang. Can y'all just wave to the people this afternoon? So we're going to have some really, really awesome conversations with them. But first, we're going to jump into what this human-centered customer service is all about. And so we have our expert, Miss Autumn Sanders. Hey, how are you this afternoon?
So good to be here.
Good. Awesome. So I am going to let you take it away and help us to understand a little bit more about what it means to build a human-centered organization, company, and small business, and really how this is going to prepare us for the future. So take it away. I'm about to get my paper, my pen, so I can take some notes.
Love it. Love it. Well, Alicia, thanks for inviting me to talk with you guys today. So my name is Autumn Sanders. I'm the founder of Quire Consulting, and it's Quire. And we are a human-centered design firm. We help organizations figure out what comes next for their businesses, looking at a 3 to 5 year roadmap, so that they're designing their organizations around the needs and the behaviors and the values of their customers. So I actually came to human-centered design in a really unique way. My background is in journalism, and so I was always interested in story and storytelling, but also bringing stories inside of organizations in ways that mattered. If you think about the reason why you started your business, if you think about your role as an entrepreneur, usually as entrepreneurs, we're trying to solve a problem for ourselves. We're not happy in our current jobs. We want to make a little extra money on the side. We've got kids going to college, whatever it is. We're trying to solve a problem that we see in the marketplace. It might also be a problem that we're seeing, like, I can't find clothes that I want to wear in the stores that I shop in. They're not serving my size or they're not serving my style, right? And so we might say, okay, I want to solve that problem. There must be more people like me out there who have that same problem. But when we design our organizations, we're still looking at ourselves as a focus or ourselves as a centerpiece. That can continue when we think about how we expand our network. So we start talking to friends and family and say, hey, mom, hey, auntie, hey, cousin, hey, sister, right? You see this problem the way that I see it, right? Hey, don't you think that this business is a great idea, right? And so we talk to people who are really invested in who we are and our success. And we try to have them as our business coaches and advisors, right? And so when we find ourselves in that situation, we're creating a very founder-centric business. We're creating a founder-centric organization. And we cannot buy all of the products. We cannot buy all of the services that we sell. So we have to then turn to a customer and try to figure out how we get them involved in our organization and in what we do. And so what we're encouraging our entrepreneurs here in Birmingham to do is to rethink that whole equation, right? What does it mean to be human-centered? That means designing every part of your business from, like Alicia said, your branding, your products, your space, your sales strategy, designing all of that around the customer experience. Because when you're designing your organization and your products and your experience around the customer, you're creating something that is intrinsically valuable and viable to them, not just valuable and viable to you. And when you do that, the thing that you create will be valuable and viable to you because it's serving the needs of a customer in a real way. So that's the overview. We want to think about how we can serve our customer. So what has to happen? The first thing that we have to do is know our customer. Now, I love talking to other entrepreneurs, especially those who are really excited about their idea and they want to serve everyone. Everyone is their customer, right? They don't want to keep anybody out. They don't want to exclude anyone. They want to make sure that their childhood friend to the CEO of the biggest company can take advantage of their product and service. But what we really want to do is hone in on what we're providing and why and what need we're meeting. And so if we think about if we think about the idea of breakfast, that's always where I like to start, right? Everybody eats breakfast, so there's no real non-breakfast customer. But if you say what we want to do is solve the breakfast challenge for time-challenged busy adults, right? So if that's our customer, if that's who we want to serve, then we can begin to unpack what makes them time-challenged. Where do they eat breakfast? Why do they eat breakfast? What's their motivation? Are they trying to just kick calories down for the beginning of the day? Are they trying to meet a fitness goal? Are they trying to luxuriate and taking care of themselves, right? What are their motivations for eating breakfast? And so how do you understand what those are? You understand that through research. So the first thing I'm going to recommend that you do in the process of identifying the customer that you want to drive your business around is to spend time with those people. Spend time with people who are time challenged. Whatever you define as your customer mode and motivation, you want to find people that have that experience. And that's where your friends and family come in. They can help you get to people you may not otherwise have in your network and get to know who they are and how they live. So you can do surveys. That's always helpful. But as close as you can get to that lived experience, be at the breakfast table with that family, be at that breakfast table with that couple, and you can find out more about experience by experiencing that experience with them, that moment with them, than by letting them tell you about it. I'll give you an example. If you think about how you had breakfast this morning, you might say, I had a protein shake and a smoothie, and I had an egg white omelet, and that was my breakfast. But then when you got to work, you may have had a donut, or you may have stopped at a coffee shop along the way, or you may have taken your 10 a.m. meeting somewhere else and had more to eat there. So if I spend time with you throughout your morning, I'm going to encounter more breakfast moments than just what you might tell me about in a survey. And so I want to challenge you to think about in the next 4 weeks, if you could talk to or experience those defining moments with 5 people who are your customer type, how would that change your business? Right? What would you find out? What questions would you want to ask? What experiences would you want to observe? And how can you learn from those moments in order to identify who your customer is, right? So if you don't know your customer, if you don't know how they live or why they live or where they shop, what motivates them, what challenges they face, what problems are really important to them, then it's really hard to design a business or a product that comes in and meets their needs. And so that's the second piece of it. If your business does not meet a problem or does not respond to a problem that the customer is interested in paying money to solve, you're going to struggle to grow your business. So a lot of times we want to ask, well, how much would you pay for this? If I offer this service, if I go into this business, how much would you pay for this thing? And we're kind of asking the wrong question. What you want to understand is, how important is this problem to you? What does the solution do for your life and your environment? So when we think about time challenged breakfast, we can say, how much would you pay for oatmeal? Well, oatmeal is cheap. I may pay 25 cents for a portion of oatmeal, right? Because if I break down how many portions are in the Quaker oatmeal can, that's all I would do. But when someone puts it in a single serve container with a little bit of cinnamon and sugar, and all you have to do is add hot water, now you're paying $1.25 for that oatmeal. So what you've done is you've changed the product, you've changed the experience to meet the need in a way that matters to the customer. So you're changing the price that they're willing to pay because you're actually meeting their need. You're actually solving a problem that they are now willing to pay money to solve. And so when we think about our businesses and how we grow, if you don't have that foundational research, if you don't have that foundational knowledge, that pricing strategy is hit or miss. That pricing strategy can be a challenge, right? And so you want to make sure that you are solving a problem that the customer is willing to pay money to solve. And so when we are trying to design a product or an organization or a service that serves everyone may not be willing to pay money to solve that problem. And so, or they may not be willing to pay the same amount to solve that problem. And so when you're defining your customer, you're looking for the needs and the values that they have. You're looking to understand their problems and challenges. And you're also looking for how much they're willing to pay and how you can drive that price so that because you're meeting their need, you're willing to pay a little bit more. If the problem is not important, or if they have a million other ways to solve it, then maybe you can shift your business or shift your customer to find someone where there is a better fit, there is a better match. I will say this about research. If you find that the customer you want to serve isn't the customer who's willing to fit into your business model, it's not a failure. And I think a lot of times we're so challenged with sharing something that's so important to us, with sharing our business with an audience. Research helps us refine our work. If we do the research early, then we can refine that work with the minimum amount of financial investment. When we do that research later on, it's going to cost us. If you're already in business, if you're already designing the product, if you've already created the space, it's a lot harder to make that change because you have some things that are fixed and in place. I challenge you, if you are starting out on this entrepreneurial journey, think about ways to do that research from the front end when that can continue to inform the thing that you're creating as you're building it. And I promise you, it may feel like a time investment, it may feel like a cost investment, but it'll save you money later on because you've invested in that customer upfront. So we've talked about what does it mean to be human-centered. We've talked about the ways focusing on your customer helps you set your price and define who and what you are and how your business can solve a problem that the customer is willing to pay money to solve. So what happens if you are already in business? You are always launching new products and services. You're always looking for ways to grow, and your customer is always changing. I think that's one of the things that we saw in COVID, that who we were in 2019 is not who we are right now. Who your customer was in 2019 is not who your customer was right now. So I'll share an experience from our organization. So we work a lot with nonprofits in their strategic planning. So organizations that are looking for a 3 to 5 year roadmap for how they want their organization to grow and evolve. We had a client that we started working with before the pandemic, and most of the people on that board were 60 plus. And we did all of our research and all of our workshops in person. And we never would have imagined asking this committed board of retirees to do a digital workshop. And yet, because of COVID, because of the pandemic, that's exactly what we had to ask them to do, especially with this remote board of directors. But as we kept working with them, we saw that their capabilities with technology changed, their interest and their ability to stay engaged and to actually move back and forth between platforms, between a StreamYard or a Zoom to a Google document, to a browser window and back again, improved exponentially as we kept working with them. And that was true of most of our clients throughout the pandemic. And so as we saw our clients' skills evolve, what we were able to do and what we were able to offer them continued to change. So that's true with your customers. That's true with your clients. They will continue to grow as people apart from the product and service that you offer. And so if you are looking for ways to grow and ways to continue to serve them, your organization will continue to grow to meet their needs and to meet the opportunity that their growth affords you. So there's always opportunities to continue to research and understand your customer. Even if you said, well, I know who my customer is. As people continue to change, they will continue to surprise you. And you want to be out front in that surprise. I do want to speak about our organizations. So if you are designing your product and your business to meet the need and the challenge of your customer, you're also looking at how does your team respond to that. The data that you gather through that customer research doesn't have to just be founders only information or executives only information. Bringing the rest of your team into that research gathering process helps them own the changes that you want to make or that they want to make as an organization. And then those changes are actually data driven rather than founder driven. So I'm a founder. I love being able to say, hey, I think we should do this and see our team get active around it and get excited around it. But what I really want them to get excited about is serving our customers and new ways to serve our customers. So when they are a part of the research and they see the challenge for themselves, it's easier for them to accept a change or a new product or a new approach to sales if they're a part of that research and that understanding. So I'm going to challenge you again to think about ways to include your team in your research so that it's not just you that's saying, here's what we need to do, but it's your board of directors, it's your sales staff, it's your partner in the business, it's your partner in life who is beginning to understand the same things that you're seeing from the customer perspective. And that will help you guys put your heads together to figure out what changes you need to make in order to grow your organization. I'm going to pause. You guys are free to add your comments and your questions to the chat. If there's anything that I can answer for you about how you can help your business be human-centered and better centered around your customers, I'm happy to answer those questions in our conversation. So we're talking about what does it mean to be human-centered in your business. Investing in this upfront helps you grow, helps you sustain the work that you're doing. You can continue to make that investment if you're already in business. I would say the other thing that you want to look at is how does this human-centeredness expand into all parts of your organization? So making sure it's not just existent in your products, but how does it exist in your messaging? We are all creatures of social media. If you're in business, you're on social media. But if you have not defined your customer, you may not have a strategy for how to talk to that person in the ways and the spaces that you need to communicate with them. So one example is this idea of where is your customer in your communications plan? If you are, if you love TikTok and TikTok was the right thing for you and it made your day and you were like, this is the platform for me, but your customer does not buy what you sell and does not notice what you sell via TikTok, then you may not meet your customer where they are. If you are, I would say, an accountant, right? It may not be that your customer is looking for you on TikTok. They may be really looking for you on LinkedIn. And so you grow your messaging based on your understanding of your customer. Where can you meet your customer? That's where your messaging needs to exist. Where can your customer see you? That's where your messaging needs to exist. So if we have a founder-centric messaging strategy, then we're creating an organization that reflects our own strengths and weaknesses, rather than creating an organization or strategy and approach that meets the customer where they are. And that's our goal. Our goal is to serve our customers, not necessarily to serve ourselves. The other thing that we want to think about is the customer life cycle with our organization. Chances are you want your customers to be repeat customers. You want them to buy more than one thing. You want them to come back into your store multiple times. You want them to purchase your services, to engage with you over years rather than over moments. So again, think about what does it mean to be customer centric throughout the life cycle of your product, throughout the life cycle of your organization. That may mean what you do when you have a problem, when your customer is dissatisfied with what you've offered, dissatisfied with the work that you've done. We're not all perfect, and we know that those things happen. And so when we design the full engagement, the full life cycle of that experience around our customers, then we're driving that relationship rather than selling to them in a moment. So I hope that these strategies are really helpful to you as you think about growing your business. I do want to come back to this idea of who is our customer and say that even though not everyone is our customer, it doesn't mean that everyone is not a part of our business and a part of our success. So when you think about how you engage in your broader community and the people that gave you life, that keep you supported, that keep you encouraged, there are a lot of what we call stakeholders in the growth of your company. There's a lot of stakeholders that are involved in your success. And so when you think about your customer might be the person that buys your product or service, or the person that uses your product and service if someone buys it on their behalf. But you can think about the ways that other stakeholders can be involved and are involved in the success of what you're doing. If you're thinking about those other stakeholders, there are opportunities to message to them. There are opportunities to engage them. As business owners, we know that hiring is really a challenge in this season. And so your stakeholders can help you hire more people. They can be your connections to new staff and employees. It does not necessarily mean that those stakeholders are your customer, but they're still involved in the success of your business. It might be that stakeholders are other organizations in your field or other partners in your neighborhood where you do business. And so thinking about changing the way that you think about who your customer and who your stakeholders are gives you new opportunities to grow and to develop connections. I think that when we think about our community, we think about how can we serve the people that matter to us. And we want to serve the people that matter to us through our products. But as founders, as small business owners, we serve the people that matter to us in a lot of different ways. I love that we are employers. I love that we're creating jobs for the people in our communities and not just jobs for ourselves. I love that we are a teaching space. So when people are looking for internships, when people are looking to job shadow people who are starting their own companies and want to understand what it takes to be entrepreneurs, we are offering that space and opportunity for our communities, for Birmingham to thrive. That's an important role that we serve. We're also landlords. We're also tenants. We're also neighbors. We're also partners. I think about retailers, and I love that DeKette Johnson is on this panel with me and after me, because I think about so many ways that people who are designing products need retailers that can teach them how to sell their product into the marketplace so that they can be ready to sell that product into larger spaces, so that they can have this platform to grow who they are and get their weight up, so that they can get their strategy figured out on the local level so that they can serve a national and even international market. And so when we think about our customers, when we think about our stakeholders, there's opportunities to learn how we can be human-centered in those relationships. How can we serve the people in our communities? How can we serve our customers? How can we build organizations that are sustainable and sustaining so that they can continue to be these community partners? So I hope that I've shared things that are helpful to you as you guys are growing in the work that you're doing and in your businesses. We have a great panel and just some talented thinkers in this city. And I'm so glad that we're able to hear from them this week. So Alicia, I'm going to invite you to come back. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. So as always, I just love to share my notes because it's one thing to just, facilitate these conversations, but it's another thing to gain from them. So here are all my notes. From your conversation, and just to pull a few things out, I think it was really good when you talked about initially as entrepreneurs we're problem solvers. So we start with thinking about how can I solve a problem that I have, but how can we pull ourselves out of that and really make it focus customer centric, because we can't buy every product and participate in every service we have. We have to create that for our customers. So good. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you. Everything that you said at every moment was amazing. So thank you, Autumn. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now, like she made mention, we're going to bring in one of my favorite people. His name is Duquette Johnston, and I like to call him Duke. But he'll let you know if he's okay with that.
I'm cool with that.
But Duquette is Duquette and Morgan Johnston. They are the owners of Club Duquette in Woodlawn, which is also my hood. So I love it, and so I think that I wanted to have this conversation with you because you have done a phenomenal job, you and your wife, at creating such a human-centered, customer-centric, community-driven product and brand. And so a lot of times when we're on these panels, we hear great information, but it also feels good to have people who have implemented it and they can kind of share how they went about doing it. So I just want to thank you so much for joining us today. I know that you are a small business owner in the thick of things. So we appreciate your time. But just to jump right into the conversation, can you tell us a little bit more about you and Morgan's initial vision for Club Duquette?
Sure. Our initial vision was part of it was we wanted to be our own bosses. We've always worked for ourselves. And through like our work in creative consulting and working in production with styling, art direction, set design, everything, we were constantly having to go out of town to source a lot of the clothing items and other things we wanted. And people were always coming to us asking, where can I get this? Where can I get that? And so we wanted to open a place where we could curate the things that we love. If it's in our store, we either designed it, made it, wear it, use it, cook with it, wash our face with it. It's our life. It's our lifestyle. But we wanted a place where everyone could feel welcome, where everyone could come in and feel some type of connection, connect to others, and be about community. I mean, that was from the get-go. And while a lot of business consultants or advisors that we have, which I highly recommend to anyone, get a good team of advisors around you, they all thought we were crazy and said that our business plan was a manifesto and not a business plan because it was so focused on that aspect of building community. But there's one advisor that I have, he stressed to me the most that to make our store, we didn't even have e-commerce the first year. He was like, make it about your community, make it about people, take care of your people, and they will take care of you forever, as long as that is always going on. So it was built in from the get-go. We wanted to open a place where everyone could come in, feel welcome, feel loved, feel connection, and hang out and discover new art, new clothing, new music. That's why we threw those parties before the pandemic, and yeah, it's been at the core of what we've done from day one.
That's amazing. And so that really ties right into what Autumn was saying, is that you guys started with community in mind, right? You started with thinking about how can I, not only serve my customer with a product, but how can I serve them holistically, right? In the way that they feel and how they experience us and how they experience the product. But the only way you could do that was you two also giving people something that you would give yourself, right? And so I think, what's interesting now is that we have all these products, all these goods, and I mean, we don't know where they're coming from, what's happening with them. And the people selling them, they wouldn't even have it in their own house, right? But you're saying, listen, whatever I would give to my family, whatever I would wear, whatever makes me feel swaggy, like, listen, I want you in on this. And so I think it's important for us as business owners. It's just so good just merging what you and Autumn said, is really think about your customer. I think we hear that so much, but we don't really take that to heart. So I appreciate you for sharing that. And so, okay, so how do you feel like building community and authentic brands is going to impact businesses in the future? So we're living in a different space and time now, right? Where you can get products anywhere, anytime, within 2 hours on your doorstep. But I think when we think about small businesses and building authentic brands, we have to really be honest that the nature and the landscape of entrepreneurship has changed, right? Customers' needs and wants have changed. So how much do you feel that community building and authentic brands are going to transform businesses in the future?
I think it's been important for decades. I mean, that's how the heart of small business in America has always been, like especially micro small businesses like Morgan and I, like Club Duquette. I mean, we are a micro small business, because one thing that drives me crazy about the categorization of small businesses in America is I'm in the same category as somebody that has 300 employees.
Right.
Not the same thing at all. but I think it's become even more important because I've noticed big brands, global brands, Nike, Levi's, whoever, that are pulling out of stores and trying to create their own experiences now and getting straight to people because they've seen the response of what these shops have done to bring people in. So now they're trying to figure out how do they do the same thing and how do they recreate it. And for some people, some people just want to have a boutique and just sell stuff. They just like to sell stuff. It's all about money. And that's cool. That's their journey. That's their thing. But for us and a ton of other small retailers, there's a massive amount of the population of people in the world, in America, that want that connection with the people. They want to know where their dollar is going. They want to know about that product. And they want to know that where the dollar goes that they spend. So let's say you come into Club Duquette and you buy a bandana from me. You're supporting 4 small businesses when you buy that bandana, because the man that I source my fabric from owns a small business bringing in fabrics from Japan and America. My friend that cuts and sews them in LA or in Nashville, that's another small business. My buddy that prints them, 3rd, and then us selling them, and we've designed them, 4th. So our customers know I can literally tell people where every dollar is going for almost every brand in my store. And I know stores all across the country that operate that way. And I think those are the ones that have survived during the pandemic. It's been super challenging. A ton of us have taken on a lot of debt we never had before, because we believe in our community and we believe the community will show up for us. So I think moving forward, if cities especially want people to keep coming to their towns, like Birmingham and other places, cities have to support those micro small businesses that make those, that people write about, travel publications and other stuff. When they talk about what's going on in a city, that's what makes the city cool. All the different small businesses and all the different neighborhoods, from the west side to the east side to the north to the south, does not matter. Like, that is the heart and soul of a community in a city. And my hope is that in cities like Birmingham and others, there's always more support from the top down for those small businesses, so they don't get run out as investors come in and want to fix up a town and do all these different things. It's why it's really important to support the community-driven small businesses in your town, wherever you live. But it's involved in retail, it's involved in art, it's involved in music, anything like that. Community is key to making it sustainable long term, because eventually people, you can jump online and get stuff wherever. I mean, I've dropped 4 brands because they want to be so available to the masses. It doesn't appeal to me, and it doesn't go along with our mission of what we're trying to do. So I'm trying to find more, unique things that are community based.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So go ahead and drop your mic for me right quick. I would appreciate that. Pick it back up because you got something else to say. Okay. That was so good. So really a few things that I pull out of that is, I think as small business owners, we can't dismiss the power that we have, right? And sometimes it can be intimidating when you have these large companies that have these huge marketing budgets and all those things. But what you made mention of is really they're taking a page out of the small business owner book, which is connecting solely, intrinsically, as deeply and profoundly as possible with your customer base. Like, how can people that deal with you feel served? I think that's so important, and that's so key. But then also you made mention of making sure that as small business owners, we support other small business owners, right? And so sometimes it may be a little challenging, but how can we, even in our supply chain, think about, when we're thinking about products and services, how we can support other small business owners? But then again, listen, that being customer centric is just key, is foundational, and it's nothing new, right? It's nothing new. Like, the thing that's always so interesting to me is things are so cyclical. Even when you think about brands that have lasted 100+ years, right? A Levi's, right? Like, they have always been at the core of their people. They thought about what people want, and they know their customer intimately, and they are connected to them. So if you had to give us like your your 3 high level building blocks for making an authentic brand, what are like 3 things you think people need to really consider when creating an authentic brand that speaks to people, that speaks to their heart, and that they connect with?
Be yourself, and be yourself. I mean,
boom,
like,
boom, boom.
I mean, like, don't overcomplicate it. So many people overcomplicate what they're doing, and then it delays them trying to even do something. Like, get out of your head. Like, try not to make huge mistakes. I mean, what Autumn was saying at the beginning is like, as much prep as you can do on the front end prevents stuff down the road. Because sometimes if you get too far down the road and you start making those mistakes, if you don't have the money to build a bridge to get over to the right path, you got to backpedal for a long time and rebuild it and get back on the right path. But know who you are, know what you are doing, and don't be afraid to stick to that. Like I at times disagree with some friends in small businesses because they're constantly will take surveys of the customer, but then they start losing who they are, which is why the customer came to them in the first place. I am not necessarily right. I am not necessarily wrong. But for us, the more we stay true, Morgan and I stay true to who we are and what we love and what we live, that speaks through us. And being willing to be a little more vulnerable about it. And sharing why you do stuff and why you carry stuff or why you don't carry a certain thing. But the biggest thing is know yourself. Know why you're doing it. Stick to it and don't give up on that. But like some people just launch a brand and think, oh, I made a logo, I got a brand, it's going to happen. Like, man, there's millions of those every day. No. So you got to know yourself and stick to, to who you are and be willing to not shift and not get rocked. You have to pivot where something's not working. Shiftings, because look, we're doing a small business to make money. There's nothing wrong with making money. But what a lot of people don't realize is the small businesses are the ones that are giving the most money. They're the ones giving the most back to a community. Yes, we need big corporate donors and all these other things because there's amazing corporations that put their dollars where their mouths are. But the small micro businesses in a city are the heart and soul. They do fundraisers, they host events, they donate products, all of that. So stay true to who you are. Be you.
Listen, let me go and put that in my cup and sip that, okay? Be yourself. That was so good because like you said, like, some people will start their companies that way, but then they shift and they lose their community, they lose their customers because it's like, hey, that's not what I signed up for, right? That's not why I give my money to you to buy your product. And
listen, if you only focus on the dollar can go away. Like there's more to it than just the dollar. Like there's a lot to it that brings people in, especially to a small business when they're going into that brick and mortar, or nowadays the importance of e-commerce. You have to translate that like to your messaging on social media, to like your newsletters, to like whatever it may be. But if you start backpedaling all the time and you're constantly changing, or if you're only focused on the dollar, you're going to miss out. Like dollars come and go. Like you got to build that brand and keep it really solid. My granddad used to always talk about the foundation of stuff. And I didn't understand him until I got older, but he was talking about like without the foundation, a house crumbles. So your foundation in a small business is who you are and what your mission is. Like I have one business advisor that loved our business plan that we wrote, even though it was more of a manifesto, because he understood that we knew exactly what we were talking about. We didn't understand a lot of the components of the dollars and all the business lingo stuff to get loans, but we started our business with nothing anyways, because I'm hard-headed and I'm just going to do it because I'm determined. But that you know what you're doing, like why you're doing it and what from your heart is causing that,
For sure. No, I definitely appreciate that. And I'm sure the other small business owners can appreciate that because it can get overwhelming with all the things that, come into play with being a small business owner, with starting a business, the accountants, the money, the legal, all of those things. But at the core of it, terrifying, right? But at the core of it, if you know who you are, if you know your customer, I think even when things get shaky, people always say, know your why, know your why. When things get shaky and they get rough, you're sure that you have a business you're operating that is true to you and it's true to the people that you serve. And so, it's that anchor. But then also, you made mention of too, like there's a certain level of vulnerability that we have to have in sharing our story and creating these businesses for the future. Because, one of the things that I know for sure is that there's a human element to everything. Like even as your customer, I have a good day, I have a bad day. And so for you as an owner, and I love following you, Morgan, Club to Care, all on the on Instagram, is because there's moments where you're like, hey, today was rough, y'all. Like, but peace and love. I'm like, peace and love, dude.
Look, we'll close our door if we need to for a day. Like when our son needed a day, during the pandemic and there was so much heavy stuff going on, we were like, y'all, because we were closed for a year, but even when we opened back up, we locked the door and went home because our kid needed us. And our customers, we've been that from the get-go, so they're not shocked when we do it because it's been part of what we do. And the same with our employees. Like, they are humans too. Like, check on them. You are not just a boss. Like, it's more to it. Like, take care of your people. Pay people. Like, sometimes you got to not pay yourself to make sure your people are taken care of. Because if you do that, they are going to stick with you and take care of you long term.
Yeah, no, that's good. And so pretty much what you're doing is you build a family. And so people
Absolutely.
are more connected to your brand, they're more connected to you. And again, it's just that human element. So because one thing one of my mentors said before is like we are all humans having a human experience. And so,
Yes.
you see, especially with the glamour of social media, everything is polished and prim. And it's like, listen, that is not reality. My edges was like falling yesterday. I was ugly crying the other day. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, but the more you can
It
share that with
happens.
people, it happens. The more you
Yeah.
share that with people, the more they can connect to it, and the more we can build these businesses for the future. We have a comment. It says, "Go ahead, go ahead."
No, I was seeing Leslie's comment right here. Business so much more about our service to others, and that is spot on. One thing, like a ton of retailers, I go into stores anytime I travel because I'm also a musician. Have a new record out called The Social Animals. Plug. But like when I go play, like in different cities, I go check out other shops. I want to see how their customer service is. Sometimes I'm going in to buy something, but I want to see how their customer service is. And I was recently at a huge music festival playing in a big city. Went into a bunch of stores, and only one store I went in on this whole long stretch of shops was I engaged. Where did people take care of me? Did they talk to me? And what people miss out on is some of the best customer service comes from restaurateurs, comes from people that are serving people daily like that, taking care of them. So we've always, some of our biggest influences for Club Duquette have been people that own restaurants, that know how to serve people, that take care of them, that come from the hospitality industry. Because if you are taking care of people, at the end of the day, you in a boutique, you're selling to people. You're not selling to a robot. If you make soap, you're selling to people. Like, it is people centered. It's human centered. So how can you serve them really well, but while staying true to yourself? We have been open about our beliefs, who we are, how we live, all this different stuff. So we haven't had to endure struggles when we've tried to make it about that hospitality and to super serve your customer. Super serve them, take care of them. If you walk in and you can only buy a $5 thing in my shop, I'm going to treat you the same as somebody that comes in and is like, I can spend $1,000 in here. I can buy, we have this wide price swing, and I'm going to treat everybody the same and serve them the same and make sure that they feel loved and walk out of there like feeling amazing that day. And I want whoever works for me, if they can't do that, then they can't be on the floor. Maybe they need to be somewhere else, but people know.
Yeah, that's good. I have so much more I want to say, Duquette, but I'm gonna stop because I know that you and I will talk.
No, we could talk all day.
It'll be like 150. People will be like, "Ma'am."
Yeah,
Okay,
Teresa's like, let me in here. Teresa's
listen, that was
like,
so good. But I think
board.
no, seriously, I'm gonna set up something just for us to just have a one-on-one to really talk to this more, because I think that again, you and Morgan have done a phenomenal, exceptional job at doing that. Like you said, last thing, super serve your customer, super serve them. And if you have people that don't have the same heart as you serving your people, then unfortunately they have to go, right? And so you have to also find people to come alongside you in your journey who have the same heart for people and the same heart for community, so that because we talked about scaling yesterday, so that if you are out of town, if you are having to serve your family, that you still have people that can stand in the gap with your heart to serve your folks. And so amazing. Duquette, as always, love you, brother. I appreciate you so much. He's going to stick around if we have any questions. And so now, really quickly, I want to bring in Teresa. Hey, girl. Hey. And
hey, girl.
so, Yes, she's going to talk to us really quickly at the tail end of this conversation about a few strategies and ideas around kind of creating that culture. So, Autumn really talked to us about how to be human centered, how to bring in research in serving our customer. Duke helped us to understand, like, listen, stay true to yourself, super serve your people, how to build community in that. And so, Teresa, you're going to really quickly just help us to give us some high level strategies around how to kind of build in some culture into what we're doing. So take it away.
So thank you guys so much for having me. Autumn and Uncle Duke, they really brought home what I'm about to tie in. And I'm coming from the perspective of being a small business owner for 7+ years and also having the background of human resources and higher education administration. Being taught from the first day when I entered into the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa that my customer was not just internal, which were my employees, but my customers were also external. So everyone who supports the University of Alabama, all the students at the University of Alabama, the parents of the University of Alabama, the vendors of the University of Alabama. And because I always worked in central human resources, my goal that I was always trained on was to treat everyone the same and make sure that I provide superior services to everyone that walks in that office, because you never know who's coming in. And from that point forward, 17+ years in the game, I have never left those strategies. So I want to talk real briefly on just some high-level strategies that you guys can actually take and implement. These things may sound similar in nature, but I'm going to approach them a little bit differently. So when you're building your customer profile, you revisit that profile quarterly. Okay, we heard Autumn talk about that customer profile and that type. Revisit that quarterly. Make sure that you are still serving your audience what they actually need. Don't get complacent. I'm giving you permission now as a business owner and as someone in human resources for over 17+ years. Do not get complacent. Be okay with pivoting. Don't feel like, okay, I'm only in this small business by myself and I can't focus on anything else. You're going to have to invest the resources. You're going to have to build the team, and you're going to have to put the effort to make sure that everyone remains customer centric. As Autumn also already talked about, you want to make sure that you take risk while you're building that customer profile. What do you mean? I'll tell you. You want to make sure that you assess if you need to advertise. If you need to advertise, then go ahead. Take the risk. I know a lot of people as small business owners have always told me, well, I don't know if social media boosting posts work, and I don't know if this works, and I don't know. Well, you will never know if anything works unless you try it. Today, I'm giving you permission. I am giving your permission ticket today. Go ahead, set aside a budget and allocate the funds needed to see if it works. Guess what? If it doesn't work, then now you have another gem that you can build off of to say, this is why I need to do the next strategy. So make sure that you take the risk, assess your audience. Don't be afraid to get to know your customers, get deep with them, understand what you need to do to support their lifestyle. This is all about building the customer profile and the customer type. How do you support their lifestyle? And once you figure out how you support their lifestyle, see if it matches your minimum viable product and your business model. If it matches, then go ahead, plug it in and see if it works for you. Again, don't be afraid to take risks. Today, you get your permission slip to go ahead, spend the 100, spend the 500, spend the 1,000, whatever you need to do. I would prefer you to spend it than not to spend it and still scratch your head for about 6 months to a year wondering if it will work. Today, let's break that mindset. Strategy number 2, you want to make sure you maintain your customer database well. This is the number one mistake. I am not okay. I'm okay with telling you guys this. I'm not afraid. This is the number one mistake that I did not manage well. Because as a small business owner, the way that I gradually came into it, it was like I gradually stepped into it, then it got bigger and it got bigger and it got bigger. I know you understand what I'm saying. And so what I didn't do was invest in a CRM platform or system. You're going to need to research what those CRM systems are so that you will be able to look at trends, and you will be able to look at shifts, and you will be able to look at who you are serving, what product or service you're servicing them, what industry are they from, and you'll be able to just basically draw very clear conclusions about what needs to be adjusted as you go throughout the year. Don't wait until 2 or 3 years later, and then you have to gather all of that information up so that you can get those customer profiles and types and continue to adjust. One of the great things about investing in a CRM is that you will be able to recycle this information over and over and over again. How so? Well, let me tell you. You'll be able to use that content to advertise what percentage of people you've helped, what industries you've helped, how many people you've helped. You'll be able to get data that backs up your MVP. And so you want to make sure that you, again, take your permission slip to take the risk and take the $1,000, the $500, the $100, whatever you need, so that you will be able to get that information on the front end. My last strategy around this is building your teams with the same mindset. You have internal teams and you have external teams. So you've kind of heard Duquette talking about the partners that he's worked with. So this is really like his external team. He wants to make sure that he's able to get his products and his cloth and everything that he needs to serve his customers. So this is almost like a team effort. So you want to make sure that you keep your team customer centric and value driven. You want to make sure that you keep your team with the tone for success and adding value in all your processes and practices. You want to make sure that you're driving home that we are going to do everything we can to possibly support this customer profile and customer type. And we might even need to share these strategies. We may need to even have coffee and talk about who we're serving so we can make sure that we get things done on deadline and a timely basis. Build that with your team. Make sure that you invest in some 1099 contractors. Make sure you get maybe one employee if you're a small business. Make sure that you understand that it is okay for you to take the risk, because if you take the risk and you fail, then you will learn much more than not taking the risk at all. So I want to give you guys permission to do that today. Cultivate a proactive mindset with your team. Make sure that you anticipate your customers' needs as well as your team need. Make sure that you're giving them what they need, your team. You want to make sure that you're supporting them internally. You want to make sure that you're being transparent with them. You want to make sure that you're taking the time to build your team up, because when you take care of your customers and you take care of your team, they will take care of you. And the moment that they begin to feel as if they are just another number, another person, or another thing, they will continue to do the job searches. They will continue to find people that appreciate them, or they will go start their own business, and they will take everything that you're not doing and go do it themselves. So these are the top 3 strategies that I suggest that you do. These are things that I've learned the hard way, and I'm here to share that information with you so that you can go and take it and run with it. Burn the road up, make the investments, do what you need to do, look at your failures as problems that you can provide solutions that actually build out a blueprint for how you need to continue providing customer-centric service, and you'll also be able to provide that same customer-centric service for your teams.
Okay, listen, I'm sorry. It took me a minute, y'all, because again, your girl's full of notes. Okay, so we appreciate you, Teresa. And you know, one of the biggest things that I heard you say consistently that I know you want us to get is to take the risk and give yourself permission, right? Give yourself permission to try the thing, take the risk on the new thing, because as we're building out this culture, as we're building out these businesses, there's going to have to be some new ways that we do things, right? There's going to be some new things we have to implement. And in order to do that, we're going to have to invest in the software. You made mention of CRM, right? We wanted to make sure you guys could see the definition of that, because sometimes the terms are like, oh my God. But that's a way for us to manage our customers, right? So we can better serve our customer. But then also, when we can better serve our customer, we have those systems in place, we can have a more healthy culture with our employees, because we're not all over the place as leaders, right? We give them a system to fall into. They know how to also serve as well. And so I think that was so good. And then listen, you dropped the mic and gave us a little gem too, sis, where you were talking about, listen, with your employees, if you don't do what you're supposed to do with them, they're going to figure out what you're not doing. They're going to take that and they're going to start their own business, right? And a lot of times that's what that's what happens, right? We have people that, or we've been in situations where working in environments, we don't feel appreciated, we don't feel valued, or we know that there are some gaps that are not being heard, and we see a better way to implement those things, right? So listen to your people. It goes back to what Autumn was telling us earlier. When you're in your process of researching for your business and the new product or the new service you want to offer, include your people in it. Because what you were saying, Teresa, too, is that helps build our culture. When people feel like I am a stakeholder in what is being built, right? Listen, business owners, it's not about you all the time, okay? It's about your customer. It's about your people. And when you bring people into the fold and you also allow them to be stakeholders in the ideas and the visions of where you want to go, it'll be a much easier lift. And it is a true culture of teamwork and collaboration. So thank you so much, Teresa, for those gems. She was like, listen, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't play with me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you getting that to us really quickly. This has been an amazing time. And I'm so glad that we were able to have a conversation with Autumn, with Duquette, and you, Teresa. And I just appreciate all of you guys so much for joining me. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, there were some things that were shared. And if nobody else got something, I did. Okay. And so I'm taking this into everything that I do, how I approach my businesses and how I approach the work that I do, because again, it's not just for everybody else. It's also for us, because each and every one of us on this call, we are business owners, we are trailblazers, and we are working diligently to provide information, resources, and to be an asset to our community and the people that we love and the people we serve. And so I appreciate you guys so much. This has been an amazing day 2 of Birmingham Small Business Week, which is a part of National Small Business Week. And so I thank you guys for joining us today. And tomorrow we're going to be back right here at 12 p.m. and we're going to be talking about digital strategies, right? Everybody, we got the TikToks, we got the social media, we got the e-commerce. And so tomorrow we're going to have some amazing guests. Leslie Pierce is a guest. We have Jordan Hoverter. And then we also have Rita Olds, who's going to be talking to us about copyright, e-commerce things, right? How do we pull in some of these social media things, and how do we create companies that solve problems by using technology? Because listen, y'all, tech ain't going nowhere. We probably going to be in the metaverse. Okay. So we need to know how to be ready, right? How to implement some of these digital strategies. So meet us back here tomorrow at 12 p.m. On the Birmingham Small Business Week Facebook page, and also on our YouTube. Tell a friend, share this video, because listen, my hope and my desire is for us all to be ready, to be prepared, to create sustainable businesses, and to make sure that your local ecosystem, and that also our local ecosystem here in Birmingham, can thrive with amazing, sustainable small businesses. So excited. Can't wait to see you. So join us again tomorrow right here at 12 p.m. And thank you for tuning in. And thank you to all of our panelists. And you guys have an amazing rest of the day.